And a short time ago I was joined by Australia's Attorney General Robert McLelland, whose portfolio includes emergency management. Mr McLelland was in our Parliament House studio. Robert McLelland, thanks for joining us. Late this evening you doubled the number of search and rescue people Australia is sending to New Zealand. Clearly the situation is changing quite rapidly in Christchurch.
Yes, we anticipated the second rescue team may be necessary, but we made the decision to get the extra team on the ground. If it's not needed, it can come back, but we thought that's the wise thing to do. And when we spoke to the New Zealanders, that was their priority, to get those search and rescue teams in there.
Indeed. What are they telling you about what they need and the size of the challenge they face?
Well, it's still enormous. 65 have been confirmed as deceased. There are still literally dozens who are likely to be trapped under rubble, so hence the priority to get them out and get medical treatment to them as soon as we possibly can. It's quite cold over there, exposure and so forth, so we want to get those teams on the ground quickly.
And is that the specialty of the teams that we're sending now, tonight?
Yes, very much so. There's one team from New South Wales and one from Queensland, both about the same size, about 72 people. They range from rescue experts to those with special sniffer dogs, to medical experts, engineers, and each of them are taking about 20-odd tonnes worth of equipment. So they're self-contained for 10 days. They can support their own teams so that they won't impose on the New Zealand rescue effort. They'll be able to plug in and can make their contribution as soon as they hit the ground.
Of course, as everyone says, time is now of the essence. As you say, some teams are going tonight, but how quickly until they're all on the ground?
The team tonight is, there's probably a plane just about to take off now with 30 people. About 2 a.m. we expect another 42, and then the Queensland team will take off tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning. But the New South Wales team will be able to commence work at first light, so that's the priority at the moment.
So in all, about, what, 130 people?
All in all, it's about 144, plus 2 liaison officers. In addition, we're doing some work to see if they need any additional medical skills, whether they need particular specialties, whether they need additional nursing staff, and we're making inquiries of states, and they're ready to provide that specialty assistance if we need it. Then we've offered that to New Zealand as well.
Have you had any update on whether there have been reports of any Australian casualties, any Australian injuries?
Yes, we've specifically asked for that information. Obviously, there have so far been no reported injuries to Australians, but there's, as I've indicated, there's a number of people who haven't been accounted for, so we can't assume we won't receive bad news. There have been a number of inquiries, as you'd expect, literally thousands of inquiries through the consular telephone service of people concerned about relatives in New Zealand. Obviously, we're trying to match those, but we haven't concluded that exercise. So far, I mean, the news is favourable, but we'd be naive to assume that with the number of Australians in the region that we won't receive some bad news out of that.
And when you say that a number of Australians who haven't been accounted for, they're not formally reported as missing, it's just a question of matching up those calls to the helpline with sightings and locations in New Zealand?
Yes, that's quite right. So people shouldn't be distressed about that. That's simply the logistics of people phoning in and making inquiries about friends or relatives, and our officers are then trying to assist by matching up where those people are. So we hope in the normal course of that occurring, people will phone home to their relatives and so forth and reassure them that they're fine.
Of course, there are thousands, as you say, thousands of Australians in the area. We know there are around 400 Australian doctors who were just visiting Christchurch. Many of them are not in a position to retrieve their passports from hotels. They want to leave. They're clearly a drain on local resources there. Can the Australian government help to get those Australians who want to leave to get them out quickly?
Yes, and indeed Qantas is doing the right thing. Qantas is flying, I think, a 767 to Christchurch tomorrow, and that will assist in that exercise to get a substantial number of those Australians who want to leave Christchurch out of Christchurch, and that's obviously something the government thanks Qantas for, and will provide every assistance. Should additional procedures be necessary, obviously we would look at that, but we think that that service by Qantas will provide the assistance that's necessary.
Is that a special evacuation flight?
Well, as part of their normal commercial operations, but they'll be making every effort. The airport itself at Christchurch isn't fully functional. The tarmac itself is, but not all the support buildings are, so they'll be looking at getting the necessary safety equipment up and running for tomorrow. So Qantas are conscious of that and have been working with the government to ensure that they assist as appropriate when it's possible to do that.
Robert McLelland, many thanks for talking to Lateline.
That's my pleasure. Thank you.
And if you're concerned about family or friends in the Christchurch area, you can ring the Department of Foreign Affairs on 1300 555 135.